What a beautiful morning. What a beautiful morning. Good morning, good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, Getting ready here for our live stream, taking a look at the markets, making sure we stay on the right side across all markets. Before we begin today, very, very important announcement over here. Peter yesterday articulating well. Thank you to the moderators and contributors for continuing to improve the content experience. We all enjoy this channel. Everyone, thank you so much. The moderators, thank you so much. You make this experience so smooth, so nice. Thank you for all of your hard work each and every day. I am grateful for it. Did you see this price action this morning on the DXY? Pretty silly price action over here. You could see the support that we're watching over here at 92.56 holding price. This was, I guess, I don't even know what time. I don't know what time zone I'm in. I don't know what's going on, but when I woke up early this morning, price was bid over here, and within the next 30 minutes, we saw. Let's come down and look at a 15-minute time frame. Let's get a look over here and see what happened. Look at this is, I don't know, maybe we have some misprints over here. I'm going to ignore all of this data over here, and I'm just following this little bit of a what? This looks like a bear flag. I just want everyone to see this is the 15-minute time frame. I'm just trying to see what happened over there so I get a really good feel for what's going on this morning. Okay, everyone see the same thing that I'm watching over here. Now come back to the 8-hour, and I'm seeing this looks like the trade that has no name over here. You see the support, you see price bounce off of it, and then coming out taking that low. Okay, what does that mean? Why are we seeing that weak dollar? This is normal price action, in my opinion, right? Whether or not we hold the support over here, I don't know yet. We looked at this in yesterday's live stream. If we break down below here, it's this trend line over here looking to hold. High probability that holds. If it doesn't hold, that's a technical breakdown. This little circle over here symbolizing that I went long on the dollar, right? Last time I went short on the dollar back over here in May, June, end of May, beginning of June, right? And that will flip-flop quickly because I just want to stay on the right side of the trade. So do not get caught up. We have the Fed meeting minutes today that could definitely greatly affect the trajectory, the momentum of the dollar here. And then we have tomorrow Jerome Powell speaking. That's the only thing of note on the calendar over here. FOMC meeting minutes today, and then we have Powell speaking tomorrow. I guess just in case he makes any mistakes today, that they have him scheduled and ready to clear that up. We'll continue to watch what happens. We'll watch what happens on price. What about the rest of the markets? What's going on? We want to talk about gold and silver today. No question about that. Before we get into FX and before we get into equity markets, let's see what's going on Bitcoin really quick. Make sure that we have our bearings, right? So some people might be, so a couple of things are going on. If you see the thumbnail, you see some people are looking at the 4-hour time frame and they're looking, is this a head and shoulders that they're seeing with a clear left shoulder, a clear head, and a clear-ish right shoulder over here? Right? Which one you take, I don't really care. It's all the same. And if you're following that head and shoulders over here, right, then you're looking at a trend line that looks like this. Don't worry, I'll make that a little bit brighter for you in 1 second. Hold on. Got to get the flow. Listen, this is a holiday session. It's a holiday week, a holiday session. So excited for it. Excited to be sharing with you, making sure that I stay in the flow, that I stay on top of the markets over here together. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. But whatever the case, go ahead and smash that like button over here. Let me draw this in a little bit darker just so everyone's watching the neckline. If you're watching the head and shoulders, the inverse head and shoulders, you're watching this neckline over here. Could that be in play? Sure, I would never say no. Nevertheless, all right, I just want everyone to picture it. You got it in your mind. Now I'm just going to delete it. I'm watching this, and I continue to, what just happened there, Jordy? All right. Now I'm watching this over here, though, and I continue to watch this line over here, this horizontal line of resistance, which is stronger. There's no question about it. Now, are you talking a difference of what? The neckline of that inverse head and shoulders and my line over here is a difference of what? $250? Does it make a difference? I don't think so. Okay? So if you're watching that, that's okay. That's good. Do not look for head and shoulders and inverse head and shoulders more often than not. If you're looking for them, you're going to be taking false signals. But if you are watching it, watch the trend line break. That's the important thing. But do keep in mind, if you're taking that trend line break of that inverse head and shoulders, you're coming right into resistance as that triggers. You're coming into resistance $250 later. You're coming into resistance right over here, right around, right above $60,000. That's that strong dark line over there. Just wanted to make sure that my flock has the best understanding across the markets. Jordy, that's what my family used to call me when I was little. They really did. All right, so what about this trend line over here? Jordan, are we breaking below this trend line? I want to make sure that everyone has the clarity needed here to conquer the markets. It's what we do. It's what we do. All right, so yeah. Oh, by the way, just public service announcement. It looks like XRP is ripping. We know that Ripple, the company, causes XRP to rip. And then what do? What's the business model of Ripple? Why, Jordan, it is to sell the token XRP to retail investors to fund their company's operations. Oh, and how does that look? Does that look natural when XRP rips? Do you see that across any other altcoins? No, it has a distinctive pattern. That's why we call it a rip. It goes like almost straight and vertical up. And then what happens after that? Well, then you see a bunch of tokens unloaded. Oh, all right. So we all got that down, right? Yep. Okay, let's keep going. So people might be worried. I have this line, first of all, not dark. I had this line like this over here, like light, right? So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back dark just so everyone could focus in on it. Some people could be worried that perhaps this is being breached here and breaking down. Well, we just saw that happen over here. We saw that breakdown, that retest, the resumption off. All right, just so everyone follows me. Sorry about that. Here's the breakdown. Here's the retest. And here's the resumption down. This needs to be darker. Let me just get that going over here. I'm going to find the flow. We got a strong show ahead of us with a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about it all. There's no rush in that. We just want to get it right and we want to enjoy ourselves. Look, breakdown, retest, resumption off right there as price made the lower low, right? Resumption down. And then you could see price came back above this trend line over here and is now what? It's now kind of neutral, right? It's cloudy. Look, I'm not focusing on it myself. If I wanted to focus on what's price focusing on, do you see these little tips down over here, right? If I move this down, just to show you, and I'm telling you, I'm not concerned about it. If I moved it down, right? And then if I zoomed out, oh, I still have that line. I have that line. You know how I do it, right? Is that a better look at it? It could be. It doesn't really matter. I just want you not to focus on that too much yet right now. If we get a breakdown after coming back up over here, if we get a breakdown and it's clear and it's pronounced, don't forget you're watching on the 8-hour. You're waiting for the close over here. Then we'll know what's going on. We'll take a clear look at it. Right now, don't get caught up in that. Okay, there you go. So what else? Just take a look at her on the daily. How's she looking? Right, consolidating strongly, making higher lows underneath all-time highs. Bullish, right? Extraordinarily bullish here, Bitcoin. I like the fact that we're seeing Ethereum continue to run. Now you're seeing Cardano. You're seeing against Bitcoin, a bunch of altcoins having their day. It's a healthy crypto market. It's what we want to see. We're happy about it. Is Bitcoin going to run soon? Oh, yeah. Someone mentioned beautifully this morning that, Jordan, we're waiting patiently for Bitcoin to rip our face off. It's coming. It's coming. And when it comes, then we'll have it. So just be patient. Hang in there. Enjoy life. Enjoy yourself. This is a look at silver. I'm going to jump over to silver really quick, and then I'm going to keep going over there, right? Boom, 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 boom. So, right. So just Daniel has an important question over here, and he's saying, look, all of us know that the pi cycle cross doesn't mean a thing because it was over 3 weeks ago when someone was telling me to do the math we took a second look at it and we said, you know what? It's irrelevant. There's no reason or cause for a pi cycle cross. The indicator is broken. Since then, the developer of the indicator has come out and said the same thing, or like recently in the last couple of days, way ahead of the game. Will that bring selling pressure? No. If you have any retail players out there exiting on a pi cycle cross, they're going to be buying back higher. That's it. But they're not going to affect the market. Do not worry about that. In my opinion, not financial advice. Yeah. So listen, Golden Pay Dirt Reviews, man, bringing the heat, bringing the fire, adding much value. This channel's like the weather. It will rain soon. Maybe this week. Maybe it will rain. I don't know. You guys take care of that in the comments. If you guys believe that to be true, just put a +1. If you don't, I don't know. Whatever. Eat them for lunch, So we got silver over here. And this was shared over here by Kevin on Twitter. You saw over here, Timothy adding how far back. This goes back to the March low over here, right? When the Fed intervened during the crisis. And then you could see this trend line over here with one touch and another recent touch. And now we have over here this big resistance line over at 2830. Let's take a look at our chart over here because it's really important. We're at an important inflection point this morning on silver. And why I say that, because we've been watching this trend line over here. We've been watching this trend line over here, and we are into the resistance. Do you buy right here, right now, into the resistance? Never, ever, ever, ever buy into resistance. That is the worst way to ever approach the markets. Selling into support and buying into resistance. We do it the opposite. We actually, in uptrends, we look to buy off support. In downtrends, we look to sell off resistance. Should you sell here right now? Well, is this an uptrend or a downtrend? It depends on your time frame. It looks mighty bullish for me. There's that March low over there. This over here connecting this point to this point is what Timothy is showing us, or Kevin is showing us over here. And yeah, that's a valid look at it. But I'm going to focus what we focus on over here on the 8-hour. And you can see that right now we're coming into this launch ramp over here that we've been watching. Breaking out above it, that's the first opportunity to look to attack to the long side. If we break out, you hold it. Even if you come all the way into the resistance, you still hold, because having, let's say, the reason that you don't buy breakouts, crypto aside, in every other market except crypto, the reason you don't buy and crypto during bull market phases only, the reason you don't buy breakouts is to protect yourself. It's only about 5% of the time they get away with you without giving you a signal. Breakout, retest, resumption, that's conquering the markets all day long. So what over there? Mr. J, thank you, big girl. So if we get a breakout over here and then a retest and then a resumption, that gives the first opportunity to go long here, silver, breaking out of this long consolidation over here. And that's the first opportunity. Now, is that the best opportunity? Well, I think so, right? Now, if we get back above 2630, the resistance over here, that opens up a little clearer, right? Clouds are drifting away, sunny skies in the way, and we could get a nice move over here. Is that dependent on the dollar? Is that dependent on what's going on in the dollar? It could be. We're seeing the dollar, as this comes into resistance, coming into that support we looked at this morning, right? It's always a dollar story, no question about that. Is it a Bitcoin story? Well, it's a 4-year cycle story. How about that? All right, so what about gold, though? I just want to, gold, you could see, has regained this channel support over here. This was all support. It broke, regained it, right? And then it broke here again, came into the resistance, rejected. So far, it's put in a double bottom at that 1678 level. It's pretty decent support. You could see this was resistance all through March. And then after that broke, it made a nice recovery into support. That's now been tested twice. That's not a signal to buy. But now that we've regained this support, is this a place to buy right into resistance? No, not for me. Gold needs to really prove itself. This line is dark. The first and earliest opportunity would be breaking above that line of resistance over there. If that were to happen, those who want to be like trigger happy could start positioning to gold, but just out of clarity, at this particular time, silver outperforms gold, Bitcoin outperforms them both. Is now the time to be looking for gold? I don't think so. It's just the way I see it. Do your own due diligence, do your own research. Anything and everything I say is just the way I see it. It's just my opinion, not financial advice. Either which way. Here we go. What else are we looking at? We're looking at a lot today. Let's take a look at the equity markets. All right. Let me see. We got S&P over here. Markets futures are unchanged this morning. Markets open up in about 11 minutes. S&P new all-time highs. Nasdaq over here. We had the 13,333 resistance. Breakout, retest, resuming off, right? You can see it right now. It's stopped into the little bit of resistance. But again, first of all, the weatherman, right? It was on February the 18th. Go back and look at the channel where we said the equity markets here could possibly correct. We took a look at what that correction would look at. Wasn't calling a correction, just letting you know, and not in the habit of doing that. that at this particular time, we could see a correction, and then the correction occurred. As the correction was happening, what did I say? It's only a question of time, in my opinion, until we see new all-time highs. We're getting close. All right. So what else are we looking at over here? What is going on with WTI? Just so everyone has that clear and clarity, we always said until we get above this trend line resistance, right, you cannot look to attack to the long side. It continues to be coiled here, consolidating. It's getting ready for a big move. Will it be to the upside or downside? We will find out. We know our levels. That's what we do. We know our levels and we manage our risk around those levels. What's going on with Ethereum, right? Let's take a look at Ethereum over here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This was, by the way, this live stream over here, it was as we were coming in on March the 31st, right? I made a big point of how beautiful this setup looked over there. Breakout, retest, resumption, Ethereum off to price discovery, looking beautiful over there. So before I get into FX and take a look around the markets, we got some stuff that I want to talk about. Let's do that over here. First of all, thank you. Every session is better than your last. I also love how you include the Conquering the Market family knowledge in the plan. This is, I think, talking about our last live session that we did last week, last Wednesday. It was beautiful. Exiting Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin versus altcoins, right? Ryan added a nice, beautiful twist to that. Just further validation of the CTM method, killing it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. CZ, this is important for all of us. Lightly leverage. Not taking any risk is probably the biggest risk for most people, I dare say. Now, he's talking about normal people. If you're here watching this video today, watching this show, I don't think you're normal at all, right? But if you're talking about normal people, right, you have them in your family, I'm sure of it, right? They're afraid to buy Bitcoin because they believe it's taking a risk. What CZ is saying, not taking any risk is probably the biggest risk for most people. Taking too much risk, this is how most people trade Bitcoin with leverage. Way too much risk, way too many people getting wrecked. I've said before, be careful. I said yesterday, everyone's not going to make money on Bitcoin. A lot of people are going to lose money on Bitcoin. And the people that are going to lose the most money on Bitcoin are the active traders trading over leverage. Taking too much risk, you could be wiped out in a single event, right? And when you see, by the way, Bitcoin come off 10%, which is not even a move on Bitcoin, and people are getting wiped out, that's terrible, right? Taking too little risk, you lose out on opportunity, right? Losing out on opportunity, diminishing returns, costs, and stay poor, not financial advice. Listen, let that sink in. It's very important. Coinbase IPO, how do we think it will affect Bitcoin, right? We have the Coinbase IPO coming up on the 14th of this month. How is it going to affect Bitcoin? There are people out there who have been saying that it's going to negatively affect Bitcoin. I think that these people out there who have been saying that, they influence a lot of traders. When I say traders, I'm just saying retail traders, right? People out watching the YouTube that are, retail traders. I think that when you have someone who positions themselves as an expert, say certain things, that people listen and take, when people are good with the tongue or have an accent or something like that, people are like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? What's going on over here? Let's take a look together, first of all, right? We have Coinbase earnings coming out today. They're expected to be gangbuster, blockbuster. Now, Coinbase had moved back their IPO so that they would be able to release these earnings today to show how good they are, drumming up what? A lot of speculation. You want to get people buying your IPO. No question about that, right? So from here through the rest of 2021, we could expect Coinbase is going to continue to crush their earning expectations, right? You're going to see with revenue of approximately $2 billion every quarter, every single traditional finance guy, right? Traditional finance guy, the guys that got it all wrong, the guys that after the Fed intervened in March 2020 during the crisis kept looking for us to make new all-time lows, the traditional finance guys, right? The guys who get it wrong over and over and over again, they're going to be seeing Coinbase, Bitcoin exchange, cryptocurrency exchange, putting in $2 billion of revenue every quarter. It's going to be massively, let's say, positive for Bitcoin and the space. By the way, when we talk about, well, I think that institutions are going to be investing into Coinbase rather than Bitcoin. Have we seen institutions buying Bitcoin over the past four weeks? I think they're going to be buying. Yeah, listen, first of all, the institutions, they don't buy the IPO. They already bought, right? Coinbase said low and high sale prices of its Class A and Class B common stock in private transactions. They buy before the IPO. That's how it works. If you're ponying up a bunch of money, you get a special deal. It's Wall Street, right? During the first quarter, right? Between 200 and 375. What is going to be, 343 was the average price the institutions were buying. They already bought in. They're getting ready to have a payday. It's how it works. It's rinse and repeat. This is Wall Street. Is that going to negatively affect the price of Bitcoin? Let's see. Has Bitcoin been affected by the institutions during the first quarter buying the Coinbase IPO? No, it hasn't. It's actually outperforming an average of the first two cycles. Oh, right? So, by the way, just so you all know, follow my mouse if you can see it. I'm looking at the first cycle over here. I'm looking exactly where we are. And as we made the new all-time high over here, that's when, wait for it, price melts your face off, right? And then in the second cycle over here as well, once price makes the new all-time high, price melted faces off. Is that what's going to happen over here? Or is the IPO bullish and should you get negative on or get neutral on Bitcoin? You decide. I don't know. I don't really have an accent, do I? What do we have an update on the bear market low? I love your yelling. I don't mean to be yelling. I'm so sorry. I'm just having a good time, right? So here we go over here. So let's take a look. Any updates? This is a good one. Any updates on the bear market low? Because we talked about over here following the chart with pretty colors that as we look at the bear market low is always approximately 15 months, the dark green to the next halving event. We said that if you look to the left, we could get a nice clear indication on the way up of when that bear market low could be, right? And you could see we're getting close over to there. I said to you that I was getting ready to possibly call it. I haven't done it yet, right? Jordan, is the bear market low in? This is April the 1st. I'm not sure if calling it just yet, right? So anyway, I tried to do the math to get an accurate indication yesterday because it's about 33 months to the next halving when we get that nice little colored dot that's showing us when the bear market's low in. I tried everything I could, whether it was 33, which it is, or 34, and it's giving me July and August. I tried working back this way, so I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. I tried working back over here from when the halving occurred back in May 2020, and then going this way 14 months. This gives me July. That's not working out. So I tried one last thing, right? This is what I did. And by the way, we don't know when the next halving is going to be. We have an idea, but it goes by blocks. It doesn't go by time. So we only have an indication of what it's going to be. Approximately May 2024. It could be, but there's a big window there. We're going to have to wait a few years to kind of get a better idea of when that's going to be. So lastly, what I did is I went and counted these red dots over here until we got to the one we want. And we have over here 11, right? We have over here 11. And if I count over here, we have 10 in so far. So is it possible the next dot over here is when I'm going to say, this is a better read? Maybe, but I don't think it's too important. I really don't think it's too important. I'm not ready to call the bear market low yet. So we'll see what happens. And if I do, I just wanted you to have that clear understanding of where I am and why. Jordan, super cycle YouTube videos have been picking up, right? It's bullish as long as you know to exit around late September. With that in mind, right? I was reading this thread over here and I'm following everyone on Twitter, right? I'm following everyone that I can in CTM on Twitter. I like to read and understand what other people's perspective are, not to influence my own, but just so I understand what people are thinking. I saw this one over here. 56 likes, 42 likes to this comment. I am conflicted. Part of me wants to say yes. The other things Bitcoin has emerged. The comment was that the market crash in 2021 will happen way faster than in 2018. right? So interesting perspectives over here because I thought it was in 2017, huh? Anyway, so just so everyone has the same situational awareness as mine as I talk about this, let me come over here and give it to you. Let me come back over here to the top in 2017 over here, right? So what we're looking at is price crashed roughly 40% over here, or is it more? Hold on one second. Just let me, if I'm saying something, I want to be correct. 43% over there, right? And that happened in what, 3 days? Price crashes 43%. You get that little bit of a recovery, and then price is down in roughly 6 weeks, 70%. So this person is saying that they believe that we're going to see a crash faster than that. I don't think so. We watched it in the training session, and I showed you in 2013 the peak, because we're getting ready and we're going to be spending a lot of time focusing over here on the exit. We're in the training sessions upcoming. We're going to be focusing on the exact price action, what it looks like. We have to make sure we're ready because things happen fast, and 6 months from now is gonna be here relatively quickly. You have to have as much practice ahead of time as possible, so as things are unfolding real time. Because believe me, the FOMO is going to be real. It's going to be so real, and we want to make sure that you get it right, that I get it right. That takes practice. That takes awareness over here. So anyway. I should clarify my own opinion. I think Bitcoin has gained a more macro position amongst traditional finance, trade finance. I don't know what that means. And unless there is some liquidity crisis, I don't see a huge threat over time, right? But 99% of cryptos, they're going to completely retrace. So this person saying this time is different, right? And then this person below also, I just want you to see, because a lot of people following our work over here, our community, they're like, how is it possible if everyone sees what's going on that everyone can make money? And I'm just trying to really highlight and bold the point that most people have no idea. Most people are thinking their own thing, and it's a lot different the way that we see things. And this is the majority. You still have the people we talked about taking risks, still have not yet even purchased into Bitcoin. Right? You're starting to see now public companies, institutions, banks, wealthy clients, they are soon able to position into Bitcoin, and they haven't yet. Everyone's all over the place, no question about that. Super cycle scenario. So this person's calling for a bear market within 4 months, and it's only going to last 6 to 9 months, and then we're going to have a next bull market in 2022. Everyone's all over the place, highlighting, pointing out for you, and Tom nails it over here. All models are wrong. A few are helpful. Have a plan. Be patient. Jordan, when is price going to melt my face off? Remain humble and grateful. Give back and enjoy the ride. Tom, I love it, brother. Thank you so much over here. Speaking of models being wrong, right? Plan B out on the Twitter today saying, look, those that are following the pi cycle, the wave rainbow, and the NUPL, right? They all have sold because their models have given them top signs, right? And then over here, even you could see the pretty rainbow chart. A lot of people back would have sold in March 2020 as it broke down over there. As Tom is saying, all models are wrong. Some are helpful. Be careful which you're consulting. And what we consult, by the way, we consult the price. We've shown clearly the 4-year cycle, which is the market psychology, Wall Street cheat sheet, playing, triggered by the halving event. If someone tells you that the halving event in Bitcoin is irrelevant, they don't understand the first thing about Bitcoin. That's the information you're following. Start there. All right, here we go. Jordan, I'm curious whether you think the fact that so many more people now understand the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, and that's true. So many more people do understand the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, right? Coupled with the fact that so many quote unquote sophisticated investors are now in this space. Asterisk, I do not consider them sophisticated at all, right? We've talked about earlier in this session, our traditional finance friends who completely get it wrong all the time. But since they talk about the market's going to crash every few months and they attract viewers, people like that stuff, right? Listen, is it going to affect how the cycle ultimately plays out? In other words, if everyone is expecting the same thing, does that make it more likely that something different will actually happen? So I think we just addressed that when I talked about that. Not everyone is seeing the same thing. It is absolutely true that more people understand the 4-year cycle. No question about that. But it is also true at the same time. It's also true at the same time. You have a massive amount of money entering the space, right? And that is institutional money, right? It's massive. It's big. It's just getting started. Much more is coming. So if you're talking about the small guy, right? If you're trading under what Willy Woo said, anything under 10,000 Bitcoin, you're the small guy. You know, do I think that you're affected by it? I do not. I do not. And I do not think that that quote unquote sophisticated money is going to get it as right as you. Is Elon, by the way, did you see this tweet from Elon questioning this highly speculative S&P rally? Kathy Wood gave her explanation on it. If you have time today and you want to read that, it's interesting, right? Is Elon questioning this highly speculative? Is it speculative, the S&P rally? I don't think so. I think the S&P rally is just basically, well, everyone here knows it, right? The S&P rally is mirroring the central bank liquidity, the global central bank liquidity. Wherever we are in this market, I will just stay with you. Thank you. But listen, Elon has a big history of getting it wrong, right? If you go back and you look at Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla. It was over here. It was in May of 2020. May of 2020, I'm trying to find it. Tesla trading roughly May 1st, 2020. Tesla trading around $160. That was before the split, by the way, right? 5-to-1 split. So it wasn't $160, but, you know, do the math yourself. I'm not really good at that math stuff. You know. So any which way, I think Elon, when he said that Tesla was overvalued, I don't know how sophisticated he is when it comes to markets, right? And if you think that's the sophisticated money, I mean, listen, I don't think so at all or even close to it. And that's just the way I see it. I call it as I see it. Regarding the exiting at the top, this is a good question. Okay? Before we get back into price, I made sure to cover price across the markets except for FX as we get started here this morning. So everyone had that really important awareness over here. Look at this move on the DXY. By the way, there's something I forgot to point out to you over here. The DXY over here, if we go, I think this spike over here, something's wrong with that. I looked at the 15-minute chart with you. I showed it to you, but I could focus on this over here. I could add a trend line in over here, and as long as we're below that, right, you're neutral there. That's going to help us as we get into FX, right? A breakout above this, that sends us back. The trend is up. Right? We have, not only is the trend up, we've made some important bullish technical breaks, taking out this trend line, taking out this resistance that we're now turned support that we're testing right now. This is bullish market structure. Breaking about over here, continues the trend over here, breaking back below this trend line over here. At that point, I'm going to closely be watching and monitoring you, getting ready to put a circle down over there. All right. Back to this. Regarding the exiting at the top, you say your primary focus is price, 100%. How then will you be able to differentiate a blow off top from hyper-Bitcoinization? It's a great question. As price is going vertical, let's take a look at it, by the way, just so you understand or have a vision. I'm a visual person. I'm going to go to the daily over here to make it easier over here. Coming back to the last top, I could go to the other one if you want as well, but I'm not going to. And as price is going vertical, like really going vertical over here, right? And we're going to be, again, and I just can't say it enough because it's so important. Brad, everyone loving Brad's chart art. Brad has sent me a few different examples and a beautiful, let's call it cheat sheet for the top that we're going to be looking at consulting. We have a few different models. We're going to put them all together so we have that awareness, giving us different guides, right? Either which way. As we're coming up over here, this is like, if this is happening in September 2021, if you see price going completely vertical and really melting faces off, right? How do you know that's not hyper-Bitcoinization happening? How do you know that we're not going into super cycle? Because at that point, you're going to see all the YouTubers talking about 1 million Bitcoin, 2 million Bitcoin, maybe even. The institutions are here. This time's different. The FOMO is going to be so real, right? So when we talk about is everyone understanding the 4-year cycle, let's say a lot of people are aware of the 4-year cycle, and a lot more people are aware of the 4-year cycle, but very few people are even aware or understand Bitcoin to begin with. But of all those people aware of the 4-year cycle, I would say the majority are going to choose to believe in the super cycle over the 4-year cycle. All right. If this is occurring, if this type of price action is occurring at the right time, which is towards the end of September, then we know that it's not hyper-Bitcoinization, that we know it's the 4-year cycle. If we're seeing all of a sudden models break, and when I say models, I wish I had over here, and let me pull it up because it's important. Let me pull up the halving tracker. That's a mouthful that I said over here. If we see the model breaking, this is the model that I consult. Tom said, listen, some models are helpful. If you consider this helpful, I do. It is the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? It's the psychology of a market cycle. All of it 100% playing out over and over again because the halving event sends a supply shock that sends the price off into a bullish phase, a bullish price market that ends in a parabolic move with a vertical blow off top. And then you see this is the Wall Street cheat sheet again. That is all part of it. Then you see the move down, the hope move, boom. Either which way, if this is breaking, right? If we see price, let's say past the top over here and then go on to make new all-time highs, we're going to talk about that in future training sessions, whether or not you should position yourself in future markets, how you can do it, the best way to do it. There's a lot to cover. It's all very important, but I just want to, and I think that I've articulated well, we have our timing of when these events should be taking place, right? But Jordan, there's only 2 previous cycles. Okay. Again, everyone's not on the same page. Few will get it. I believe a lot of people here in this community will. I really firmly believe that. But we'll see what happens. So just to answer your question, because we do a lot of work making sure that we're at the right place at the right time. If something is taking place that's out of the ordinary, we're not going to just like stand by and be like, oh, dollar milkshake theory. It's okay. It's going to come back next time there's a crisis. We're going to make sure that we're positioned. If hyper-Bitcoinization is taking place, I will be on that right side of that trade. That I know with full confidence. Do we think BlockFi will put some limitations on their platform during the cycle peak? Will they put out withdrawal limits or something like that? I do not think so whatsoever. If they were, something's very wrong. If they were, something's very wrong. We took a good and clean look at avoiding liquidations, loans in one of our training sessions recently on BlockFi. Highly recommend watching that so you have a good understanding. Now, is what's happening with BlockFi real or is it FUD? That's something to think about. That's something for you to make your own decisions. I have personally a significant amount of money being held at BlockFi. I feel very comfortable with them. By the way, a lot of people talking about you should not hold Bitcoin on an exchange looking for 6% interest. I can't argue with that whatsoever, right? And I wouldn't. That's not the reason I use BlockFi. I use BlockFi as a way to access fiat when I want to as a non-taxable event. I use it as a beginning early bull market to go ahead and borrow against current Bitcoin asset holdings to purchase more Bitcoin. Not that you should, experts only. And if you don't understand how to do it, you have to start by doing research, right? Watching tutorials, learning. We have the Conquering the Markets training session on that. I think few people are aware, BlockFi is also moving towards allowing people to purchase Bitcoin and not have it lent out. You will not collect the interest. It'll be sitting on the exchange, but you will have the choice whether you want to collect whatever interest they're paying for how many Bitcoins you own. But a lot of people use BlockFi because it's so easy to buy Bitcoin with. If I'm telling my mom to buy Bitcoin, I'm referring her to BlockFi, right? If I would I hold Bitcoin on BlockFi and not receive, a 1% interest all day long? If you're playing for the swamp, if you're paying for the interest payment, then you don't understand markets, in my opinion. Either which way, There's a lot of let's say, I don't know if it's FUD or if it's real. Always be watching your risk. Always be concerned. But whether or not either which way, that's that. Where else are we? Let's get into a little bit of FX and make sure we know what's going on over there. All right. Let me take a breath. How about that? That's the same thing. Is Binance safe? In my opinion, if I had any concerns or qualms about an exchange, and do I think it's safe to trade on Kraken after a history of illiquid markets? Be very careful. Do I feel safe on you? Should you feel safe on Binance? Listen, there's a risk everywhere, including your bank. But Binance has a history, even when they got hacked from inside job, probably, $250 million covering the funds, right? Do I feel safe with Binance? Yeah. Do I feel safe with BlockFi? Uh-huh. Do I feel safe with Coinbase? Not so much. Not so much. That's not who I like to do business with. What about Gemini? Yeah, I like those Winklevoss brothers. There's a lot of choices out there. There's a lot of choices. Keep doing your own due diligence. Make sure that you know what's going on. Oh, it's been a long time since we've done the matcha dance. All right. A lot of people feel like that. 100%. Boomer, Dave. All right. What else are we looking at? Coinbase will have their IPO. Yeah, we talked about in great detail about the Coinbase IPO earlier in this session over here. All right, let's take a look over here. What's going on? Let's get into FX over here as we see the dollar under pressure this morning. What's the rest of the markets doing? Gold and silver. Silver being rejected at that resistance right now, but that's just the first move towards it. Don't read into that yet, right? Let me come back down to the 8-hour where we make our living, where I make my living at least. Over here, you can see the resistance. It's a breakout, and then it's a retest resumption, even if the breakout sends it all the way into the resistance at 26.30. All right. Silver surfers, this could be the chance. Let's see if we get the break or not. This is coming back, by the way, since February, end of February, all the way down. How many months is this? This is going and going and going. Looking good. All right, FX. We know what's going on with the dollar. Just want to set my bearings over here as I do. The dollar right now is into the support, breaking below it. Breaking below that 92.55 support, right? Next area, next target, if you get a successful breakdown, right? Retest, resumption into this channel over here. Let's take a look. Let's start with the Euro US dollar. I'm just reading some comments for a second as I get my bearings and get ready for a next wind over here. All right, Euro US dollar. You see the DXY breaking down, Euro coming into this resistance right here, right now. Now this is a downtrend. This is into resistance. All of you who took this trade over here, right? This was Forex Masterclass. All of you took this trade breaking above this resistance here. Are you exiting your full position? If you do, right? We talked about we talked about together on the live stream that at this point we would take a big piece of profit into that support. It wound up bouncing. It's coming into this resistance now. Is this a sell signal right here? Downtrend into resistance if it resumes off. It's definitely greenlit. No question about that. Definitely greenlit over here. This is setting up a possible entry in the London session coming up. I'll be watching for it. We'll check in what happens tomorrow. The way that you stay clean and clear is you have to wait for the resumption. It has to be during the right time of the day, because if you break out above, you get no entry signal. Same thing out here, by the way, just as we're talking about it. As we look at silver, you don't enter here hoping that it's going to break out. You have to wait for that signal. You have to wait for the entry signal. Otherwise, you're going to get wrecked. Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay. I see this also into resistance. And then price is so far resuming off that resistance. And then it got caught up. It's in no man's land. All right. This is important to distinguish right here. This is all no man's land right now. Right. Is this in an uptrend? Yeah. If you break above that resistance, could you look to buy this? Sure. No question about that. What about this? Have we started and began a downtrend? If you look at the true trend, you would say that this is in a downtrend right now. Could you attack from both sides? Yeah, you could attack from both sides. But right now, price is kind of consolidating, getting ready for a move. Don't get caught up in the top, right? Give yourself some space. Wait for further clarity. I see clarity above the resistance here. I don't really see a place to attack right now to the downside. I would wait. And if you were selling off here off that resistance, by the way, that's a good entry. There's no question about it. It's a good entry if you took that trade. All right, what else? Let's take a look across the board. I want to see what's going on with the pound US dollar. Pound US dollar, right? So this looks, I would say that the pound here, moderately strong so far. Against the dollar, it's the one that's showing so far the best strength, and it's into the support over here. You can see the break above the resistance, the retest, the resumption off, right? And now back into this area over here. This could be setting up for a possible trade to the upside, right? I'll watch it. Okay, I got a green letter. So the Euro US dollar, by the way, right now is setting up for a possible short if you get an entry signal. Pound US dollar setting up for a possible long. Watch Forex Masterclass Advanced Intermediate. It talks about if you're trading the same pair, in this case, the US dollar, pound US dollar, Euro US dollar, and they're giving different signals. If you should take those trades if they occur, how often and why. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Let's take a look over here. So this looks to me like possibly I'm seeing a bear flag developing like that. I'm seeing, is this a possible weakness here? We know that the New Zealand dollar central bank looking to put a little bit of a pop into the housing market over there. Maybe this could be setting up over here, a resumption down over here. I'd be looking to attack to the downside. It's not so clear right now, but I do want to watch this about 12 hours from now and just take a look. All right. So what else? US dollar, Canadian dollar. Let's check her out. So this is quite noisy, and I'm just avoiding this completely. When I say it's noisy, do you see this important trend line over here? But you see that price is just like, it's a lot of noise. I'm not looking to get caught up in a trade that's going nowhere. So, that's just as important as looking for a setup and seeing something that you want to. Listen, if you want to be preemptive of price and not chase after it. If you're into a position now and Cardano's popping, that's good, and enjoy the ride. You deserve it. You deserve it. No question about that, right? So, but if you're watching Cardano this morning pop and you're feeling, oh, I want to be involved in that, then you're doing it wrong. Okay. So if you're in this trade right now, enjoy this. You deserve it, right? That after putting in all the hard work, doing it right, last breakout over here occurred over here, right? Price now after breaking out, consolidated nicely, now making a new leg up, higher highs, looks beautiful. Hope it gets to price discovery soon. But if you're not in this trade already, you're not looking at Cardano up 9% and like, oh, I'm going to chase after that dragon, right? Because you won't be able to ride it. All right. So what else? We're over here on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and I'm talking about it's just as important to distinguish which pairs that you do not want to be trading at the moment as it is which pairs you're watching for a setup. You're looking for those clean waves to ride, and if it's not clean, if it's choppy out there, it's not when you want to get out on the surf, right? Very clear. What else? Let's take a look at some Japanese yen pairs. We'll start with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, and then we'll move over to the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. All right. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. So we were tracking this together as price was pulled back over here. And then you saw a breakout, a retest, a resumption off, and now price consolidating. It looks healthy. Do I see this as a place giving a possible entry? I do not at this moment. All right. What about the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen? Again, we set this up together, and then we saw the breakout, the retest, a resumption off. In this one, so I see the Canadian dollar is stronger than the Australian dollar as this went on to new all-time highs. Okay. I see all yen pairs right now, by the way, as we look at them, at or near yearly lows. Yen continues to be very weak over here. This just made a yearly a high over here, and now it's backed off a little bit. And you can see it's backed off into this area that was resistance, now should be support. Is that a place to look to attack if it is able to resume off there? I mean, that's debatable. I want to look at the 3-day over here as we're coming into this resistance, right? This is an area, by the way, where I believe that you should be looking to take profits into that strong trend line resistance. Break above it, it opens up more upside. What about the Euro Japanese yen? This is interesting. This didn't make a new yearly high, but came very close. You could see it's stronger over here than the euro, as this is quite a ways back compared to the euro US dollar. This was lagging coming into this trend line over here. The Canadian dollar and British pound were leading, but since then it broke out, retest, resumption. That line right there, that's the entry, and it is now looking good. This is support. So I don't see a place to attack the Japanese yen pairs. The place to attack was when we had that nice orderly pullback and we had all those trend lines. That was a week ago when we were looking at setting all those trades up, right? And every time I show you and I'm like breakout, retest, resumption, breakout, retest, resumption, breakout, retest, resumption, because it's conquering the markets all day long, I'm trying to ingrain it in your head, right? In your mind. All right. So what else? Since then, what is the Euro Japanese yen doing? Since not making the new yearly high, it came back in and is looking. I don't like it. This I like. This was a good time to attack. This isn't a good time to attack, in my opinion. So I'm not going to be looking after it, right? What about the pound Japanese yen? This one, you can see that pound, that relative strength in the pound, not only versus the dollar compared to everything else, but against the Japanese yen. You can see it made the new yearly high over here, right? And backed off a little bit. You know, is it into a little bit of light support? It is. Would I look to attack? No. By the way, this gave no entry. This was a breakout, and it went pretty high and pretty strong. For me, I wouldn't have got into it any day. 3-day, I want to just go over here as we're getting ready. You see the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen near a trend line, a long-term trend line. And I said as you get near there, that's where you're looking to take profits, right? Pound Japanese yen also, it's getting close to that area. It's getting very close. That's the place. It was the first of the year, the first week of the year. We talked about targeting this area over here. That's the place to take off all profits, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but get back above that. That opens up significant upside. That's a place to really begin to attack freely again, the pound Japanese yen. All right. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. We see the New Zealand dollar weak, right? Relative weakness. By the way, I know that you're trying to find a mechanical solution to finding strength versus weakness. The best way to do it, but we're going to do a tutorial on this. The best way to do it is by every day going over your charts and just making the observations of what is strong, what is weak, exactly as we've been doing today. There's nothing that is superior to that. Over here, New Zealand dollar, you can see it's not making new yearly highs. It's lagging, right? Like the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Both of those two lagging relative compared to everything else. Is this a place or a pair that you want to attack? Well, I'm looking to attack strength versus weakness. The yen is weak. Australian dollar, Japanese yen right now, over these last few weeks, are showing relative weakness compared to other pairs. So no, US dollar, Japanese yen, we need to check in it, right? So this looks good, right? Why does this look good? We could see that price consolidating over here. DXY is an important inflection point. If it continues to break down, could we see more pressure on this? Of course. I don't see any opportunity across the board. No set of waves on the Japanese yen. The only thing that I'm seeing possible opportunity right now is on US dollar pairs. What else? You know what? We need to stop 1 second. This is very important. Let's do this. I'm gonna drop the beats. Head snack. It's Taco Tuesday. We need to set it off over here. Let's get head snack up in here and play our jam.
markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room. Grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
All right. Big shout out to Head Snack. A wonderful, wonderful. Can you imagine the love? What a beautiful guy going ahead, spending all that time to create that work for us. Grateful for it over here. Taco Tuesday. Couple of thoughts over there. One question I want to clarify up from Jan was, why am I not comfortable with Coinbase? And let's just say it comes down to ethics, right? The same reason I deleted my Facebook account, right? Is just ethics. I don't like what they do and how they do it. That's all. Is your money safe on Coinbase? You know, like Boomer Dave mentioned earlier, he probably feels safer holding Bitcoin on exchanges like Coinbase or Gemini or BlockFi or Binance than he does securing his own coin. You know, for most people, I would have to agree with that. You know, either which way, it's just because of ethics, right? There was the Euro Canadian dollar looking interesting over here. We are seeing that Canadian dollar strength definitely playing out. Is it coming into an area of support down over there? If you would have extended this blue box when that was providing a bit of resistance, now support possibly. I don't see it myself right here, right now. If you're trying to call a bottom, it's not something I do. You know, I just don't see it. It doesn't mean it's not there. You know, the only thing I could see would be a bottom picking, and just as like one of the easiest things you can do to, if you're not yet a profitable trader, that you could do to increase your chances of becoming profitable is to simply stop selling tops and buying bottoms. You will significantly begin to improve if you just first do that, and then you add to it that for now on, you're going to buy off support in uptrends and sell off of resistance in downtrends. That's really going to help you. The last resistance came in all the way up here, resumed off of it. But right now, you know, is it possibly putting in a buy? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't try it. Okay. There was another thing over here. Very important stuff over there. Let's move over to it. By the way, I really appreciated that comment. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. To the heart. Yeah, big important stuff over here. FTM. We don't care about the yen, buddy. I mean, first of all, clearly I'm not your buddy, you know? Clearly I'm not your buddy. But either which way, yeah, we do, you know? Because the only reason that we have a better read across all markets than anyone else is because of the work that we put in over here on FX to understand markets and price action, right? So if you're just like discovered cryptocurrency and think because you're up 100% on the year that you understand what's going on, if you're up 100% on the year, you're doing it wrong, like massively wrong, massively wrong. You have no idea and you have no clue, buddy. All right. What else? We almost made it. It's a solid session over here. You know, 826 likes. Definitely appreciate that. What else we got going on over here? I think we covered everything that we need to cover. But nevertheless, I want to check out some cross pairs. And the Euro Canadian dollar, that set me off. So I'm going to just briefly look at cross pairs. I see the Euro Canadian Australian dollar set it. So what I'm seeing, man, I feel like the euro, which has been weak for these past, let's call it, couple of months, is starting to make a trend change over there. I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but let's see whether we're looking at the Euro Canadian dollar possibly putting in that bottom. By the way, I'm looking for the sweet spot. I'm not looking to catch the turn. if the euro begins to position itself as strengthening up over here, then it's going to give us ample opportunity to take trades on the euro during the sweet spot of the move, not looking for the turn. Last week, sold a bit of for my first silver coins. Nate, that's beautiful. I'm a big precious metals guy. I always have been. There's no question the reason that I was able to understand Bitcoin comes from having a precious metals background, understanding what real money is, right? What sound money is, right? Why is it called sound money? Because you could clink it on the table, right? Clink, clink, So either which way, that's beautiful. I like to hear that. Let's see. By the way, but you could see this consolidation pattern forming over here. You could see the lower highs and the higher lows. We'll watch in the next couple of days if we get a breakout. By the way, when does that become interesting to attack? Right now, it's still the damage is still pretty severe. All right. The technical damage on that one is still pretty severe. I would just be watching and observing to see if we are able to break out of that consolidation, but not looking to attack. All right. What else? Let's take a look at some other pairs over here. Euro, British pound. This is one that has been one of the easiest and nicest trades of the year. We set that up in early January together. You could see it into resistance right now. But again, am I seeing signs of the euro beginning to make a move against other pairs? The only reason I'm making the observation is because as we do our work again, whether it's tomorrow or the next day, and we're going through FX and we're seeing and making observations, if we start seeing that continued strengthening of the euro, that signal right there, we'll continue to focus in on it. That's it. Let me take a look over here at what's going on with Bitcoin. 57,924 continues to consolidate over there. If you're wondering if that's bullish or bearish, I mean, ask your 4-year-old, ask your 5-year-old what that looks like to them. They'll let you know. Beautiful on Ethereum. We're seeing lots of pairs right now moving. Let's take a look, right? We together, right? We're looking down over to there at that important trend line and support over there. Since then, Ethereum's been on the move against Bitcoin. Is it only Ethereum, Bitcoin? This is what I want to make a note of right now, right? I'm seeing today pairs up moderately against Bitcoin. How do they look on the charts, right? Aave Bitcoin, consolidating sideways, not too much. Dot Bitcoin, wow, new all-time high. Is that an all-time high? I don't know. Let's call it a new yearly high over here. But look at that. That was the setup over there. The breakout, the retest in this case, and the resumption. I have no qualms about anyone trading crypto who takes the breakout. Actually, if I were to offer my opinion on, in the bull market, I would definitely lean towards taking the breakouts. Every other market, whether it's the indexes, whether it's individual stocks, which are really tricky to trade because of the gaps. Like talk about, let's call it, anyway, those markets are really public markets. Yay. Whether it's gold, silver, futures markets, FX, whatever it may be, it's always breakout, retest, resumption. Here, if you're taking the breakouts, it's a good trade. Link, right? Still, I don't know. So the thing about this, if Bitcoin does break out over here to new all-time highs, past the resistance it's putting up, and puts up a massive melt your face off move, I would not really feel comfortable holding alt versus Bitcoin at this point. Just be very careful about that. Maybe you want to be looking at alt versus US dollar. There are a lot of you who love your alts. There's no question. I caught up with an extraordinarily close friend yesterday, brother. We had this conversation months ago. Listen, you have to make sure that during this bull market phase that Bitcoin's about to enter, that at the end of it, you could say you accomplished what you needed to do. We're about halfway there time-wise. How you doing? Well, I made some mistakes. I started speculating with alts, you got to make sure that you're focused on the most important thing there is out there, and that's Bitcoin. There's no question about that. If you're speculating in alts, be careful. Last bull market, 2017, don't forget, it's only during the last 30 days that alts make their massive move against Bitcoin. But the 3 to 4 months leading up to that, Bitcoin was destroying them, and a lot of people felt a lot of hurt. How many people lost money during that particular phase? I don't know. A lot of people, I guess more people I know held on. They saw their altcoins skyrocket, and then they held them all, and that for that 95% loss. That's most people I know. Just be careful out there. That's all I'm saying to you. Just be careful during during bull season, as everyone is out there speculating. I want to make sure that you walk away at the end of this bull market accomplishing everything that you set out to accomplish. And if you didn't, we're going to have another one 4 years from now. All right. What else? Thanks, Stefano. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go out with some honeymoon vocals over here, right? Absolutely, my friends. Absolutely. Thank you. I just wanted to see everyone do well. That's all. The Super Mod Squad. We should call them the Super Mod Squad. Right, Winthrop? All right. Let's go out with some honeymoon. Whether or not we come back for some afterthoughts, we'll soon find out. Oh, I need to stop the music really quick over here. Mr. Brust, thank you so much for everything you've done. Both of your sons are extraordinary. There are a few people in this world that truly have formed me, and both of your sons are two of them. Thank you, Mr. Brust. Thank you so much with all my heart for you being the blessing that you are in the world. Thank you for molding and forming my life. Thank you so much. Thanks, Carl. I feel I'm way off my game. Thank you very much for that, my brother. Kimberly, Gemma, Dave, each and every one of you, thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for help building me up also. I don't know what's going on there. Let's get that off. I don't know what that was. Listen, everyone, have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for spending this time together. Thank you for making what we do here so uniquely special, because it is all of you. It is the community. It's extraordinary. My friend was telling me yesterday what's taking place here is just once in a lifetime thing. And it's true. And it's beautiful. And I'm grateful for each and all of you, especially the moderators. Thank you for all of your huge time, your huge effort. Thank you, each and every one of you. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful day.